Grab some water real quick.
Hi, everybody. This is Linda G, and here is Sterling. Okay, so hi, Sterling. It's me, and it's you, Sterling, our famous Sterling, with your questions. Thank you to Linda and to,
Absolutely, Linda again.
and to Dan. And looks like you got some good questions. I usually don't look at them until the day, glance over them.
Oh, good. Before we get started, I was just going to, I was talking to you offline there, but wanted to congratulate you for reaching
Oh,
55,000. You're
thank you.
over. So you're doing tremendously well on YouTube and continued blessings going forward. Good for you.
Thank you. Well, I've been having a lot of fun, It's not like
Yeah,
hard work, it's like fun. So,
right.
and I'm meeting such nice people.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got some great questions. We shall start. Did any MAGA leader communicate with Pelosi's attacker?
Didn't get the first part of that. Sorry. What's the first part of that?
Did any MAGA leader
Oh,
communicate with Pelosi's attacker?
no, I get quite clearly that he kind of worked on his own, but working off all the social media channels.
That's
So it
what
was
I
all, let's call it drinking the Kool-Aid. He drank the Kool-Aid pretty severely, but it looks to me like anybody that was really in, let's say, the administration for
Yeah,
45 had an arm's length with anything like that. They didn't want to build a paper trail. No.
right. Well, now that they found out he's a Canadian illegally, they're calling him
Hmm.
illegal alien. But before they were calling for people to pay for his bond and all that stuff.
Right, right.
Because he was a good old boy, you know what I'm saying? Now, because, he's blamed for this horrible thing, they don't want to be part of it. Did the former administration ever use a body double for Melania?
I don't get they did. I don't get they did. I do get they tried. They looked for something there, but decide not to deploy it is what I get for because whatever application they had for it, they decided to back out of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because they have pictures of people that are supposed to be Melania with him, and one looks really different than Melania. Unless it's
Yeah.
just the way Melania did her makeup or something.
Yeah. No, for some reason I just got that they were going to try something because they had some event or something they were concerned about, and we're going to try to do a double, but then didn't execute. Is what I'm picking up. So.
Do you have an update on pandemic from now until the end of the year?
Yeah. So you and I've talked about this like over the year actually here, right? In 2022. And my team had always said that there was a bit of an uptick here at the end of the year with a new variant, which is upon us right now. It's kind of a version of Omicron and some others.
Yeah.
And my team had also said new vaccines coming out. So we've got two new vaccines and a third one coming. So that's all true. So I see it being managed. But my team always said that this end of the year is going to be a little difficult. Everybody kind of keep their guard up. And we're seeing, the respiratory virus problems with children right now. Is it RSV? I forget the initials
Yeah.
for it. I think it's
Yeah.
RSV.
My son had that when he was a baby and he was hospitalized.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So everybody's got to kind of keep their guard up. And I've always seen as we get out towards the middle of next year, we definitely get into an endemic phase with all these variants. That means we get into kind of a yearly flu shot. And
Okay.
by the way, I saw in the news there's a new shot, a new vaccine coming up. It's a combination of COVID and the flu shot. So some companies trying to do one and done. So that might be released
Wow.
before the end of the year. Yeah.
I did so good with all the COVID shots and the boosters. And honest to God, Scott, Sterling, I got so sick with I had two shots. I had the flu shot and I had the what do you call it that you break out on your
Shingles,
back? So, yeah,
shingles, or
the second
yeah.
one.
Okay.
I've been sick ever since. I have not rallied ever since.
Wow. Wow. So,
So,
so like your immune system is really going and attacking it. That's probably what's
I
going
guess
on.
so. I guess that's what it was. A member of the church lost her husband this summer. She recently attended church and noticed that she was having difficulty being there. Before the sermon began, she got up to leave. I walked out behind her to offer comfort and she began to sob. After a few minutes of holding her, my head began to hurt. It wasn't an ache, more like an intense pressure. After we exchanged a few words, she left and I returned to my seat. What I felt began to subside. What did I experience? Interesting.
Well, that comes across to me very clearly as a huge energy release. So a lot of that grief that woman, emotions, grief, anxiety, depression, those are all energies that we harbor. And so it's like a tremendous relief. It's almost like a steam whistle on a locomotive, like blowing off steam.
Yeah.
So that energy passed through that woman, the woman from the church. But that's what she felt. Yeah.
Wow, isn't that amazing? And for it to subside when they went back into the church. That tells you
Yeah.
something there.
Rolled
Not like you
off.
had a
Yeah.
headache and then it didn't go away. So
Yeah. So she did her a service. That was
yes,
very helpful. The lady
that was
that helped the
very
other.
kind.
Yeah.
What is the future of General Mike Flynn and what will happen to the Christian nationalist group he created?
I get they're eventually going to fall by the wayside. So they're actually going to be, they're going to be an element in society, let's call it that. But they're not going to outnumber, say, independents, Democrats, that kind of a thing. So they're going to be a factor in society, but they're not going to be dominant, is what I get. Yeah. That's crazy stuff going on with all that, by the way. Yeah. That's,
Yeah.
you've seen everything going on. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, their voices are being slowed down or I can barely audible.
Yeah.
Can you tell me who will win? Demings versus Rubio?
I get by a nose Demings.
Yep.
By a
Chris,
nose, which means that, it's just like a last minute thing. Yeah.
yeah, Chris versus DeSantis.
I still get Christ. I remember like 7, 8 months ago, my team, when I read on this, they said a more moderate Republican's going to win Florida, a more moderate Republican. And so what, Charlie Crist, right? He left the Republican Party, became Democratic, right?
Right.
So that's probably what they were talking about. So it looks like it's going to be a horse race. It looks like Charlie Crist for me.
I
Yeah.
often wondered, and I put that out there, that, I mean, why would people vote for Satan when he's caused all this chaos and he's, hurt Disney? And Disney, I'm sure, is putting money towards Chris. So
Right.
I just felt like he's just caused too much chaos. It'll be a shock to him.
For DeSantis, I think Disney, they revoked his annual pass. They took it away.
They did?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I don't think he had one.
okay. Highland and Sterling. News pundits predict a Republican win in the midterms. And don't write me about that, you guys. I can just tell you what I got. Anyway, how can this be when they promise so much harm to the Americans?
Well, yeah, I see a blue wave. There's a lot of Democratic wins, and what you're seeing is the majority of the news media, unfortunately, is highly biased.
Exactly.
And so they're going to show you exactly. It's unfortunately, news media is becoming like a marketing campaign.
It's really
And
sad.
so this is not. Unfortunately, people are taking the news as some basis in truth. It's
Right.
not really coming from truth. Yeah, it's coming from just straight dialogue and marketing and branding and trying to push a certain narrative. So yeah, it's not true.
Sterling, when about maybe a month or so ago, maybe even a couple months, I think I said on my show, I was getting warnings to let everybody know that the Republicans were getting ready to wash their thing into the system and let everybody think that the Republicans are going to win.
Mhm.
And sure enough, for a while there, the Dems looked good, and then all of a sudden the Republicans were winning. And I told everybody this is exactly what they predicted. And now you should see all the stuff and the numbers they're getting of people showing up at the polls for Democrats. So I
Yeah.
really feel that the Democrats are going to still, and there's some guy on Twitter that does predictions. He said, okay, here it is. He said, Senate plus this, Congress plus this, governors plus this, all Democrat.
Mhm.
And he said, that's my prediction. So anyway,
Yeah.
I don't watch any of the news, any of the cable news shows anymore. I refuse.
You and I have talked about this before, but basically, long story short, there's a lot of groups that haven't come out in big numbers in past elections. Gen Z, younger kids, a lot of women, minorities. And basically the mantra is that they're tired of putting their life and their rights in the hands of the GOP, quite frankly.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
they're not going to bet on the GOP. There's just so much going on. Yeah.
Did you predict down the road we would have somebody besides the Democrats and the Republicans? We would have a stronger new.
A splinter party. Yeah. Out of the Republican, out of the GOP, there's going to be a splinter party. So it looks to me like it'll splinter off, and then that more reasonable faction is going to get more support, and then
There
kind
you
of
go.
merge back into what's left. So it's almost like a cell division, right? If you look at biology, the cell divides and then it comes back again. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because this loss, I saw McConnell's face psychically. And I
Mhm.
saw that Mike McCarthy, they've already typed up impeachment forms for Biden.
Mhm.
I saw them looking at this loss and like, what? And then that's when I see them push away Trump. Like, he's not helping. He already didn't help them in 2018 or in 2020. And this will be the final blow.
It will be. Yeah.
What will happen when 45 suing Letitia James over her fraud case against him?
I mean, I see Letitia James is going to be vindicated. We'll win. It's a nuisance. Let's call it a nuisance lawsuit. So 45 has a tendency to throw a lot of mud at the wall, see
Yeah.
what'll stick. So yeah,
And it's no surprise because that's how he rolls.
right.
Is alcoholism a disease, and will CRSPR help all the souls whose bodies are being destroyed by it?
And that's about CRISPR technology and
Yeah.
that question. Yeah. And I've read on this before, but I'm just being reminded here. CRISPR technology is not going to directly affect alcoholism, but what it is going to affect is anxiety, increased anxiety, and depression. So something about the nervous system. So because the nervous system will be repaired or in better shape, then it helps with other ailments like getting into alcoholism. So a little bit of a backstory there. It's just, it helps another feature of the human body that then makes it easier to not be an alcoholic. Yeah.
Okay, great. Is there a way to reverse osteoporosis?
Well, you see, not currently, but here again, CRISPR technology, there's a lot of research going on right now around osteoporosis. A massive number of companies are working on it with CRISPR. So within 5 years here, there'll be some nice medication on the market that helps slow it down. As you get out to 10 years, actually be able to reverse it. So yeah,
Fantastic,
we're
fantastic.
working on it right now. Yeah.
And may I mention, I put it on my page too, you guys. I might have been the last time we talked, someone asked, will there be a pill to help dogs live longer? Do you
Mhm.
remember that?
I
And you
do.
said, yes, there would. And also, I think you said eventually for humans too.
Exactly. It's all coming. Yeah.
And they just announced on the news that it has, in fact, they have a pill that's going to help dogs live about 3 years longer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. How much of the American press is compromised?
I mean, I hear better than 2/3, I'm moving up towards 80%. And the reason that is not a conspiracy theory, it's going against trying to target an audience. It's like for profit. So how do you sell the most newspapers? How do you get the most commercial advertising on your over-the-top streaming channel or a terrestrial broadcast? Unfortunately, look at the way, not to drop names, but the way Murdoch built his empire. It was around sensationalism, right? Rupert Murdoch. So that's kind of what's happening here. Unfortunately, a lot of the news outlets are following like the Rupert Murdoch model
Yeah.
of how you gain eyeballs. So that there's a problem here. The line between truth and marketing and advertising is really blurred.
It's
Yeah.
really blurred. And I was very shocked. Even my
Mhm.
gal, Rachel Maddow, who I used to watch faithfully, is going in that Debbie Downer doom and gloom.
Mhm.
And they were really picking up the Trump thing. And I thought they must be desperate for money because that sells shows. People love the drama with Trump. So,
Mhm.
okay. Love Sundays with Sterling and Linda. I'm wondering about people who die via suicide. What is the space where the souls reside? And are they ever able to level up?
Well, they go to the same space that we all go to. So you go through that life review and you reach the other side, you stand in complete love. And suicide is part of a life path, like a lot of other things, like tragic car accidents or heart attacks. I mean, the way we exit is part of our life path. So I think this is an important topic. I think for some reason, a lot of individuals feel that you're in purgatory or hell or something,
Yes.
and that doesn't exist. But you do go through extended life review and decide, what it was. Did you achieve what you were supposed to achieve down here? So
Yeah.
yeah, they don't play special. No.
Well, and also it's not purgatory, but they have to feel what their family feels with the suicide. And a lot of them are like so into their own misery, they didn't realize that they were going to do this, affect people like this. There's some people, though, that are really sick and just can't take it anymore. But
Yeah.
I always see like a hospitalization kind of
Hmm.
energy, like they're under severe. Like I can't sometimes tap into a suicide quickly because the angels are on them, but they can work themselves back up.
Yeah, and it's also with suicide, everybody's life path blueprint is interconnected.
Right.
So I always say that, if somebody commits suicide in a family, a lot of times it's the wake of the energy they leave that obviously affects all the other family members, but sometimes it's to the betterment of humanity. And people might say, how could that be? Well, you see families start suicide prevention hotlines and
There you
help
go.
groups, and so there's always a wake. It's like dropping a pond in the middle of a lake, and everybody's life creates a pathway and a rippling of energy. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Will Cash Patel's grand jury testimony help indict 45? He was given immunity to testify, so they must think he knows something. Oh, listen, they already know he knows something. He had to show
Yeah.
them, he had to show them the big whatever he had for them to give him immunity. They wouldn't do it and hope that he testifies.
Right. He was instrumental in 45 security plans and security. And he knew what was going on down at Mar-a-Lago. So absolutely, what I get is there's this very strong connection of communication, information that's flowing from him to the government. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Kane. Kane West. He's really sick. That's all I get from him is he's really sick. Seems to admire Hitler. Did he have a past life as a Nazi, or is it just an obsession because of his mental illness?
I don't get a connection with Germany or the Nazis. And I'm not a doctor, but there's some severe mental illness going on there, and it's just unfortunate for any individual. But when you have a platform as large as his, it's unfortunate he can't provide more help to other people that are suffering
Right.
with the same conditions. So yeah, but I don't see any connection with Germany. No.
Yeah, I don't even think he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-mm.
Now that the Supreme Court said Lindsey Graham must testify in Georgia, what will he do?
He will testify. And
Okay.
and what I get there, interestingly enough, is that there's some confusion there. They're over like pleading the fifth, but then I also pick up somehow he's going to incriminate himself. So it's like try to plead the fifth, but accidentally say something that then it gets used as part of the testimony. Because I almost see like his attorneys reaching over and saying, like, don't go there, and it's like the
It's
cat's
too
out of the
late.
bag.
Yeah. Oh, I
Like,
love it.
because I
Thank
see
you.
some level of incrimination there. Yeah.
It might even be they play something for him that he said on TV. Who knows? And then says something different in the testimony.
Right.
I live in Southwest Florida, and I want to know more about Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida. It was created by Ed Letzkonen, a 5-foot, 100-pound man. It was built in 1923 and completed in 1951. He single-handedly moved 1,000 tons of coral rock to create his castle. The front door weighs 9 tons and can be moved with your finger. Did he have help or knowledge from aliens to build this castle?
Absolutely had help.
Oh my God,
So
100
what I
pounds.
get, what I get on that is that there's a device that he had that was actually provided by extraterrestrials. He had a device, and it may even be like a handheld device that utilized the same Same technology, a lot of the extraterrestrial ships use anti-gravity propulsion systems, so you kind of reverse the effects of gravity. What's interesting is what I also get was whatever that device was eventually taken away from them. So I think that they provided it to them. It was supposed to help other people, and whatever group this was that gave it to them took it back. I see a very strong, we're pulling it back because for some reason people around him, man, we're going to use it for something nefarious. So
Okay.
yeah, he definitely had help with an instrument. Yeah,
Isn't that something? I believe it, because 100 pounds, he couldn't have moved that stuff.
right.
Okay, will Katie Hobbs of Arizona be sworn in as the next governor of Arizona?
That's another horse race, a tight horse race, but looks like Katie Hobbs will get it over the finish line. It
Yeah,
does.
I'm almost feeling like that Craig Carey woman
Carrie Lake.
that says if she becomes governor, Arizona will secede from the union because she's mad at the FBI for raiding Trump's Mar-a-Lago. So if when I'm governor, I'm going to secede from the union, which is crazy. So, but I'm almost feeling she may announce she's won. She's going to do something. I mean, she was sitting there lying about Hillary Clinton. I saw her on CBS this morning saying that Hillary Clinton had denied several elections. No, she didn't. She just said people have won by vote like she did over Trump by millions, but because of the Electoral College, and she goes by the Constitution, they won. So there's been a lot of Republicans that lost, but technically lost by the numbers. So anyway.
And that whole discussion around the popular vote versus the electoral college. Yeah, and Hillary
Well, she
won by the
called it
popular
denial.
vote.
She
Yeah.
called it. Yeah,
All
she
right.
was lying. It was weird. She's just like Trump. They just twist those lies.
Mhm.
But thank you so much, because there's a particular psychic on one of the shows that said Katie that this woman
Carrie Lake. Carrie
Carrie
Lake.
Lake would win,
Yeah.
and I just never from the beginning saw her winning. Never.
Yeah.
Okay, recently a member of the dog community where I live had two of her dogs, Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, go missing from Sandstone, Minnesota. Their names were Poppy and China, and they were listed now as lost dogs in Minnesota. They were nursing mothers, both with litters of young puppies. The mothers were left out in a fenced yard for outside time, then disappeared. Do you know if they were stolen or just ran away?
What state was this in again? Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. And what were the dogs' names again?
The dogs' names are Poppy and China.
I get theft. I get the dogs were stolen out of the yard. Yeah. So, but it's interesting. I get within a few months they're going to be able to track it down and actually get the dogs back.
That's what I was feeling
So
too.
yeah. So whoever asked this question on behalf of somebody, hang in there and
Hang
be
in there.
diligent because you're going to get the dogs back. Yeah.
Oh, and then took them away from their newborn puppies too.
Mhm.
Okay, as energies can change, what do you both see for a recession? How bad, how long, and with all millions, and will all millions lose their jobs?
You want to go first?
Well, I think we're already in sort of a recession, but we are on the list of all nations, we are the best off.
Mhm.
That's what I see. But so I don't see a long, horrible, we're adding jobs still, but right now there are some companies laying off, like Twitter, and there are some big companies laying off. I feel like it's more of an adjustment than a recession.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you that there's going to be a lot of reorganization because of new strategies, aligned to new strategies in a new world as we get out from here out into next year. But
Right.
so call it a major adjustment. But I never saw massive layoffs. But let me be clear, they aren't permanent layoffs. So I do see some companies shifting, let's say, over to more green technology, and so that people might lose jobs. The petroleum companies. So we're going to see a shiftment also around technology, and supply chain. So, we're going to see some of the effects of a recession, but it's not going to be a deep recession, and we're going to navigate through it, is what I get.
Right. I can't get over it. I know the stock market doesn't determine our economy, but Jesus, is right back up there again.
Yeah, well, it's confidence in the market, right? A lot of what happens with the stock market reflects confidence, short-term and long-term confidence. Yeah.
Right. But the president had that bill signed to Build America Back Better, and all this stuff starts in January. And there's going to be more jobs. There's going to be, I just see them calling for people to come and work on this Build Back Better, like Roosevelt told me he was going to do.
I agree.
Is the Saudi investment in Twitter going to have legal or political repercussions?
I see both. I see congressional oversight or federal investigation of the Saudi interaction. They're now the second largest investor behind Elon Musk in Twitter. So I do see them investigating the influence and how the money, how it's stacked up. Yeah, I do see a lot of scrutiny over that transaction. Yeah, I do.
Wow. Okay. Speaking of Twitter, do you see it standing, or does he totally mess it up? Does
Well,
Elon Musk totally
yeah, it looks to me like if you fast forward now at another 12 months, it's going to be a whole different company that's going to really have lost a lot of its standing, kind of the social media world.
Because
Because
government, the White House, Congress, the Supreme Court all have Twitter accounts. And if he starts acting out too much, I could see everybody saying, now we're not going to do this anymore.
yeah, I just see a number of factors. It looks like a number of missteps by Elon, trying to start like a new telephone business for the platform, or extended virtual reality gaming, or shopping. And it looks like a lot of missteps behind a lot of the advertisers pulling out. So it just looks like it's not headed for a great place. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Will the life in the U.S. begin to improve and the crazies begin to calm down once the elections are over and Dems have control over the House and the Senate?
It will, but it's going to be a gradual process, right? It's going to take months to start to feel like it's almost like coming out of a pandemic. It's going to take months to start to feel better, but as every little thing happens, yeah, it's going to make people feel better.
Yeah, and as Trump starts going down too, he's got so many things coming up, and also I see the whole Republican Party realizing that they lost all these seats because of him and the crazies he put in there. That they're slowly but surely backing away. They're not in his camp anymore.
I agree.
Will Gen Z come out in droves to vote for November 8th?
100%.
I saw that. Yeah, they said 40%.
Yeah, and Gen Z is defined by the population that were born at around 1997 or after 1997. So kind of 2000 going forward. Yeah, Gen Z is one of the major groups coming out that I feel like they're going to say, we're not going to put the fate of all of our rights for humanity in the hands of the GOP. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that woman's issue was really big too. How will Tesla be affected short-term and long-term by Elon Musk's antics?
Well, it looks to me like that they're going to face some stiff competition from a lot of new electric vehicle manufacturers, right? You have Lucid, and you have GM and Ford, but there's a lot of competition coming on, and it looks to me like that company is going to be financially constrained by a lot of other things, so you can't always do all the extra investment you need. So
Yeah.
it looks like it's stiff competition for Tesla.
Hi, Sterling. Will there be a cure for IBS in the future?
Yeah. IBF. Absolutely. Again, I already see a lot of research going on right now with gene editing to try to figure all that out.
Yeah.
And so just within a few short years here, it looks to me like there's going to be some pretty strong trials, some drug trials.
Okay.
So people can get in early on the drug trials, and then fast forward 5-6 years out from now, you'll see some good medication. It's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people suffer from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please look into why the Federal Reserve keeps raising interest rates.
Well, kind of an easy one. That's the only tool they have. So, like, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? So, right now, it's the only tool they have. However, I see them getting more realistic because there's so many factors affecting the global economy right now. So, just having one tool to kind of slow down inflation, you have to work on all the other things: supply chain, oil and gas, war, what the war effort worldwide. So, all these things are factors that all global governments are going to have to start to manage. So, but
Okay,
that's why they're doing it. It's the only tool they have to try to slow down
right.
inflation. Yeah.
Okay, what will be the mood of the country for the holidays?
Yeah, I don't know why I just heard the term quiet optimism. So,
Oh,
people are going to
cool.
be like somewhat optimistic, like they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not saying everybody thinks they're going to be there because I see a lot of challenges going on nationwide with all the elections, right?
Right, right.
But it looks like people that are kind of centered, let's say spiritually, and trying to see what's going on will have my team just told me quiet optimism. So like deep down, we're optimistic. We know we're going to get there. So
Okay. I still see another, this is off the record, but I still see the government giving checks to people. Another, maybe a reset. I don't know what this is. I just saw a check, not to everybody, but to people who are really struggling. So that California was supposed to get a check. I don't know if they did. From Governor
and then
Newsom.
there were supposed to be gas cards given out too. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know if that ever happened.
But
Yeah.
my son didn't get. I go by him because his
Mhm.
financial thing is lowered. What's coming up for the next week?
Well, we have an election coming up, right? Not the least of which
Tuesday,
on
and
Tuesday.
it's a huge eclipse on Tuesday.
Yeah, so I see, tremendous progress being made. It's going to be a rodeo. Let's call it a rodeo, right? So everybody kind of, get ready. Also, just a footnote, everybody don't get crazy over all the news channels because a lot of times they report all the immediate results that come in, although the same day voting, and many states can't count the mail-in ballots until like starting on election day. So hold the phone, everybody don't get crazy.
Yeah.
So it's all going to work out well. I see
So do
that.
you see several days down that before we get an actual winner on certain people?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. Easily 1, 2, 3, 4 days for some of these races before they really start getting all the counting done. Yeah. I also see more aggression going on with Putin in Ukraine, but I also see tremendous ramp up from NATO and other countries with more aerial support and advanced weapons. So big surge of advanced weapons coming in. I do see that. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a busy week for everybody. That's for sure. Yeah.
I got a pretty significant hit, but you never know when it's going to happen. But I felt Putin doing something really stupid, and it's just pissing everybody off, and they're out to take him out. So,
Yeah, I also
okay.
see strong back channels still with the world, not just the US, but NATO, trying to come up with an off ramp for Putin, some sort of an off ramp, because he's a little crazy, a lot crazy, and he wants to save face. So, like trying to find a way to give him an off ramp that says, how can we make him look like he's saving face to Russia, but still back down?
That
So,
makes total sense. That makes total
yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
Do the guys have a message for us? Your beautiful guides.
They do. They want everybody to stay calm and believe that the entire universe is working for tremendous, future for everybody here. So believe in what the universe is doing. Stay connected, stay aligned, and kind of stand in the flow of the universe. Yeah,
Okay, awesome. Thank you, my friend. It's
sure,
always such
pleasure.
a delight. I'll tell you, you made my heart feel good today. So, how do
Yeah,
people get a hold of you?
easy. We have a YouTube channel, which is Sterling Psychic Medium, easy to find. And then anybody trying to get a hold of us directly, the website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the book a session tab. Very
Okay,
easy. Yeah.
awesome. Hey, listen. So I'm doing
Mhm.
SteamYard now, and I found that little thing. You've been trying to teach me about this, about how computer goes through and picks winners for you.
Yeah, I have a couple of tools which
Yes.
I can provide you offline.
Well,
But they
StreamYard
work
has a
very well.
tool. All you got to do
Yeah,
is put
it doesn't
hashtag and a
work.
name.
It doesn't work that well.
Oh, shoot.
The reason is it doesn't load fast enough.
Okay.
So the tools I use, you could have 2,000 comments in a show, for example, and this tool will load the 2,000 comments in less than 10 seconds.
Oh, can I have that for sure?
Yeah,
Will
no,
it tell
offline,
you right then and there while I'm live online, or
absolutely, I'll show you how to do it all, and we'll do it
we'll try
offline.
that
Yeah,
one? Because you're right.
the stream.
I know I had more than 300 comments and the thing only picked up 300.
Yeah, and I think there's a workaround with StreamYard with that tool, the contest or the giveaway picker. I think if you start the giveaway picker at the beginning of your live session, and then you're doing like a 1 hour session, then it has time in the background to load all the comments. But
Okay.
if you start like at the end of the stream, it
That's
takes
what
a
I
long
did, and it
time.
took too long.
Yeah,
So I'll next
yeah.
time just well, I want yours too, but I might just try at the beginning. So okay. Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good.
Tell your
All right,
lovely
everybody.
wife I said hi.
I will have fun. She sends you her love and all her blessings too, my
Oh,
Linda.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, my friend. Bye, everybody.